I'm Kathy, by the way. Morning. Hello. For those of you who don't know my real name from Twitter, Chief Hot Mama. Hello. Welcome to SisU. We're here. Yes. Where learning stuff is not boring because life is too short. And if it is, please grab another cup of coffee. Okay, so our sign outside is because, number one, theoretically, food and drink is not allowed in here. And number two, there's a dean's breakfast next door. So we have to act like we're following the rules. So as you can see, I am really following the rules today. And as they say, well-behaved women rarely make history. So here I am with my water bottle and my coffee, breaking my rules in my little way. You know, hey. So it's this or speeding ticket. I choose this. It costs less. So I'm not, if I didn't see it. That's all I said. I mean, hey. So welcome to SisU. We're going to have to catch up a little bit on time. I think it's a good sacrifice for having a few more people in the room. As I warned, Colonials weekend is happening. It's a little nutty. So I'm going to start off by telling you all a tweet that I sent last night. And for those of you who don't know what tweeting is, it's like Facebook, but faster and shorter. And for those of you who don't know what Facebook is, God help you. And I am Kathy Corman-Fry. I will be your host for today, and hostess, whatever. And here is a tweet that I sent last night. Tomorrow, I look forward to an incredible room filled with leaders who will change women's lives at SisU DC. And I really mean that. So, you know, we use Eventbrite, emails, Twitter, Facebook, whatever marketing stuff we have to do to get you here today. But this is really how we feel about you, is that the women who come and populate this room are leaders, and you already are. Like, to come here on a Saturday, to take time to invest in yourself, and to find the concept of women's leadership appealing, and to want to know more, put a fork in it, done, right? So then to what you're going to learn today, which is really the hybridization, a word I made up, of our own proprietary research, which is unpublished, and I teach in my class, and to groups to whom I speak. That's probably to which I speak, but whatever, who's counting? And other leading researchers, ranging from cancer research to linguistics to other fields. That is how we've cracked the code and can actually produce measurable results. It's not an accident, okay? And so basically, that's what we bring to you today. And our hope is that you go out, and by the very end of this, we'll come full circle, and you'll be sharing this with other women and make a difference in their lives as well. So we need leaders to be able to do that. It's not the dregs of society, okay, who show up at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Got it? All right, so that's about you. Now, you probably wonder, who are we? And can I work this? Yes. Who are we? Okay, so as you can probably tell from some of our emails, we've got a little bit of a screw loose. We are the Hot Mamas Project. It really started in 1999 when I was in business school, and you know, which was really earlier than that, 1998. And I looked around the room and I said, hey, you know, here's a lot of women who are spending a lot on their education. What are we going to do when things that are uniquely female come into being? I wonder what that's going to be like. And then it actually happened later, as I had to make choices in my life and my friends had to make choices in my life. And I was approached by a student in a stairwell one day here at the GW University School of Business who said, hey, you have a business. This was when I had my first business. You teach. You have a family. How do you do it all? Well, it was just fascinating to me that the case studies I was teaching in business school weren't answering these questions. You know, that even though I was choosing female protagonists, named Carly who ran companies out in the West Coast. They were just doing spreadsheets, just like any guy would do. They weren't having to make any unique decisions. And so that's when the first Hot Mamas Project case study, which is a fancy word for story, okay, because I don't think everybody should have to be like a spreadsheet jockey to understand business stuff, came into being. And I submitted it to a conference. It won an award. And everybody started coming to me saying, I have a hot mama for you. I have a hot mama for you. I have a hot mama for you. And these hot mamas were women who were just getting back into the workforce and came from a family of abuse and alcoholics, all the way up to somebody who had had everything handed to them their whole life, and they wanted to do something more meaningful. It was the full spectrum. And you know what? They all had something to teach. They all had something to teach. And they weren't being screened by us. They weren't being screened by a publishing company that was deciding, you know what, this is appropriate for students to learn. It was all appropriate for students to learn because role models and mentors come in all shapes and sizes. We all have something to learn from everybody out there, and that's exactly what happened. So in our first year, we got 100 case studies. Our second year, we got another 100. Our third year, we got another 100. And today, we're the world's largest women's case study library. And it's free, and it's online, and it's global. We have women from all over the world, in the Middle East, in South Africa, in Brazil, in Canada, in Europe, who have come and written their studies. That's their stories, basically. So they can be mentors to us. And if we want to know more from them, we can. They put their Facebook pages, their blogs, their Twitter pages, so we can click and know more. And it's also very Gen Y friendly because we may not pick up the phone. It's very time zone friendly. We may be on the other side of the world and we can get to know them at any hour. So that's what the Hot Mamas Project is. But it also gave us a lot of data so that we could take all that information and we could make a curriculum for it. And that's the SisU curriculum, which is short for Sisterhood of Success. Because we're going to do it together. And guess what? A lot of the guys, in fact, most of the guys these days, if you find the right ones, they're on our side. And they're there to help us. The emails we sent out, a lot of them brought you to us today. They're your champions, and they're part of it right now. So we said rah-rah for them, and now they're saying rah-rah for us, and they're part of it. We actually have a men's auxiliary. And so what we're going to do is show you how the Hot Mamas Project, the world's largest women's case study library, the Sisterhood of Success, which is measurable increases in success factors, which we're going to talk about, and that's what you're going through today, is in fact the package. Okay? So next, our partners. We could not do it without our partners, and at the risk of embarrassing them, I'm actually going to ask them to stand up because they have done so much to help us. So we've got not only CFE, which I know you all have heard about, the Center for Entrepreneurial Excellence, which allows us to be here today, but Female Equality, Women Grow Business, Democratic Gain, Evolve Marketing, Alchemy Forever and Plum District, who are providing prizes to us, PLEN, Preparing Women to Lead, WIN. Oh gosh, we've got to have Risha pronounce this, but you have to know about her seminar that is coming up on October 21st. Pronounce this for us, Risha. Anahata. Anahata. And United Women in Business and Dream Girls DMV, Success in the City and On Sale Promos. Can you all stand up, please? We could not do it without you. And then can you also say thank you to our team? Team, can you wave? They're so dashing in their black. And a special shout out to our guys who, I told you, they're on our side. And they're very brave because it's so much easier, I think, for us to go ahead and be part of the tailgate than the guys to come into the estrogen party. So a special shout out to the guys. Yay, guys here today. Yay. So I need you all, as leaders, to go out and know facts to combat the naysayers, okay? So what combats stuff best? Money. right? Am I right? So women, who's seen the thing running around from Secretary Clinton about women being the economic solution? Has anybody seen this article? I'm frankly too busy to even watch the news, so it's a miracle I've seen it, frankly, but it is out there. People are finally getting it. The research has been out there for a long time. And it's, to me, somebody in this field, a little bit annoying as to why it hasn't been out there sooner. But I chalk it up to the, 300 million people drove safely today does not make news. But is Kim Kardashian's butt real? Let's do an x-ray of it, does make news. We gotta wonder about ourselves, right? It's really kind of scary. So anyway, I say this all the time. I just hope to God one day somebody listens to me, but you will at least know these facts. Number one, top-down global level, there's a very well-known study in this field, the GEM study, G-E-M, okay? And it's on our Women's Business Fact Sheet on our blog. And globally, in every country that supports women entrepreneurs, the GDP increases. So if you are a political leader, guess what you're going to do? Asterisk, if you're smart. Okay? You're going to support women entrepreneurs. So there are countries, FYI, that are literally supporting women entrepreneurs as an economic strategy. It is an economic strategy built into their plan. They talk about stuff like this at the G20. People have approached me. This is not like a name-dropping thing. It's more like a, oh my gosh, can you believe how serious they are about this? About my going to the G20 to talk about women entrepreneurs. And like, oh, how can we do more of this and stuff? And we get calls like, who do we get calls from? These countries, and it's like, oh, talk to us about women entrepreneurs, and it's more and more and more, and it's serious. So we love this. I wish there were more of me, and that's why we're doing the digital classroom. It's great, but I'm not the only person. There's lots of people who can talk about this, like you all. That's why I'm telling you this right now. It doesn't have to just be me. Okay, this is an awesome fact. Know it, learn it, live it. Spicoli. Okay, now. Number two, one level down, companies. Fortune 500 companies were researched. This is also in the GEMS, not in the GEM study, also in our Women's Business Fact Sheet. Okay, and if you literally Google Women's Business Fact Sheet, this thing is so popular right now. If you Google Women's Business Fact Sheet, we show up on the first page. Okay. These companies that have formal programs to promote women into executive leadership are more profitable. And this was not a cooking the book study. It's across every measure, because there's lots of different ways for those of you spreadsheet jockeys, or like, is it ROE? Is it net? Is it gross? It's every measure. It's every measure of profitability. The companies are more profitable. So again, if I'm a CEO, asterisk, and I'm smart, I'm going to have a formal program that promotes women into executive leadership. Okay, now this is the zinger for me. Households. I have a lot of women that have come to me over the years, and they're so dismissive of themselves at first when oh, I know you work with high-achieving women, and I know da-da-da, and I'm just a stay-at-home mom, or I'm just a da-da. First of all, I hate it when women do that, because I hate it when women dismiss themselves at all. This is a pattern called communication weakening that Deborah Tannen, write it down, Tannen at Georgetown, rock star, Deborah Tannen, talks about. Don't weaken yourself. Don't do that, okay? Don't use those communication weakeners. If you were a man, and this is where we can really take notes from the guys, if you're a stay-at-home dad, the guys are not going to do that. Well, I'm just a stay-at-home dad and da-da-da-da. No, they're going to be like, I'm a stay-at-home dad, I'm awesome. You know what I mean? So like, just take that sentence out. Don't bother. So they'll come to me and say, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I, like some crappy thing about themselves. Guess what, mom? You control 80 to 85% of household purchasing power. So there's a book called Why She Buys. It starts off with a story about walking into a car dealership And the guy is all, you know, the salesperson is talking with her husband, and it just completely missed the meeting on the fact that she is making the purchasing decision. She hated him. She hated the car. She went to another dealership. So you could be a stay-at-home mom. You could be, you know, CEO on the formal executive leadership program, making a company rich. It doesn't matter. You're a chick. You control 80 to 85% of the purchasing power, period, okay? There you go. Data. Here's the half-empty part, okay? Write this down. Mindset. Mindset by Dweck. D-W-E-C-K. All right, this is, I learned about this book through the AAUW on Twitter, @AAUW brilliant. Is AAUW here? Oh, God, love you. So AAUW, like, no words to describe. I just don't even have the time in the day. But anyway, AAUW, American Association of University Women, you can pretty much just, like, follow them on Twitter and learn almost everything you need to about women's leadership. And so I learned about Carol Dweck from AAUW in their studies. And so here's the deal. Mindset, here's the bottom line. You can decide you're going to have a fixed mindset or a change mindset. And so this is taught in entrepreneurial self-efficacy principles in research. That is a fancy way of saying a bunch of researchers have brought up a problem which exists between men and women that starts in the teen years about self-confidence. And it's the following. Even though girls and boys and men and women can be equal, literally across every measure, there are times that girls and the women will still feel deficient. So it's like we've been waiting all this time to be equal. Like, oh, I'm waiting to be CEO. I'm waiting to have my master's degree. And we've got it. We literally have more. We have more master's degrees and more PhDs, and theoretically, right, there's no barriers to our being CEO and all this. And we still will feel deficient sometimes. So this is the problem. So what's kind of left, in a way, when we really look at it? It's this, right? It's this, okay? It's all that's left. And that's what the book Mindset is about, which is saying you can have a fixed mindset, which is, I just can't do that. Or a change mindset, which is, well, yeah, maybe I can do that. And you've got to decide that. You have to decide that. It's kind of the last stand for us. It's kind of the last stand for us. All right, this is my hypothesis right now. It's not to say there are not challenges. There are many, many, many challenges. We can have many, many, many discussions. But slowly, as those barriers remove, I am telling you, it is going to emerge as one of the last stands. It is going to emerge as one of the last stands. And we may even need that to emerge past the challenges that are there. It may be what we need to emerge past the challenges that are there. So Teresa and Tom can graduate from Stanford with an engineering degree. And Tom is going to say, you know, I'm going to start my own business. Screw it, I'm going to do it. And Teresa might say, I'm not sure I have all the right qualifications. That's a fixed mindset. But with a change mindset, you know what she's going to say? Screw it, I'm going to do it. You know? And so this is just test yourself. Test yourself what you're doing. That's all. We're going to get more to that later. So the point is, ruby slippers, you've always had them. You've always had them. You've got economic power. I used to work at the National Council on the Aging, okay, running a for-profit subsidiary for them. And so I know all that. I didn't even get into that stuff about the wealth we inherit There's so much stuff I didn't even get into. The economic statistics I gave you are just like 3 bullet points. I'm so holding back on you right now. So these ruby slippers, just take my word for it. We have got the power. All right? The mindset thing. Just really try to buy into that today and make the decision today. Make the decision today that you have that power and you are going to go with the change mindset and not the fixed mindset. And just practice that a little bit. It's not overnight. You know, like I said, this is not rah-rah and pom-poms. You know, this is stuff that people practice in social learning theory and cognitive behavioral therapy. This is real stuff, you know, talked about by Alfred Bandura, who is the 4th most cited psychologist after Freud, Piaget, and Skinner. This is real stuff. This is not like, rah, rah, yay, go, and then you leave and you're, you know, this is real change cognitively. Okay, so just practice it. All right, sisterhood of success equation. This is what we're going to do today. Goal, get, give. We're going to work through the 3 parts. Some of what I've talked about, a little bit complicated, social learning theory, cognitive behavioral, you know, measurable increases, blah, 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 blah. Okay, guess what? It's a triangle. We've made it easy for you. Okay? Three steps. We're going to get to the first step now. Goal. Workbook time. Workbook time. It's workbook time. Take out your workbook so I stop singing. I should keep the day job. Okay. All right, so hopefully you all got my email and you have thought about your goal, which is something that you want to accomplish over the next year, either personally or professionally, and it's something that you would be proud of. So in the past, people have said things like, I want to start my own business. They have said things like, I would like to grow my business. They have said things like, I would like to go to graduate school or begin exploring that process. Or they have said things like, I want to go on an African safari. It's your decision. I spoke to a group of African female entrepreneurs, one from every country, last Monday. And one of them, her concern was taking care of her own health, because she can't be of service to anybody unless she can focus on her health. This is 100% up to you. But as I mentioned in the email, it's not, oh, I want to organize my sock drawer. Okay? Make it something significant that has several steps to it, and you may need to seek some advice to actually be able to achieve this. All right? So go ahead and write down that goal now. Okay, now I would like you to sort of classify your goal as one of 4 things. This is what I've noticed in the past. We can classify, and this is why we actually sold this out with space left so that we have room for breakout later. You're going to be spreading out after the break into one of 4 groups. Number 1 is, and I want you to write this by your goal if you classify as one of these. Number 1 is starting entrepreneurial goal. Number 2 is advanced entrepreneurial goal. Number 3 is personal growth goal. And last is get to the next level goal. And get to the next level goal might be something like not otherwise classified in those 3, such as I want to go to graduate school. I want to run for office. Or I want to find a goal. Okay? Most people's goals will usually fall into one of those. So we'll have people who say, I want to start my own business. We'll have people who say, I want to grow my business. We'll have people who say, I want to just do something completely personal. And then we'll have people who say, I want to get to the next level in some way. And that will be in the get to the next level goal. All right, so if you are a starting entrepreneurial goal, I want you to write down a star next to your goal. If you are an advanced entrepreneurial goal, I want you to write down a circle next to your goal. Okay? If you are a personal goal, I want you to write a smiley face. And if you are a get to the next level goal, I want you to write a plus sign. Okay? And what I want you to do is, who's wishy-washy? Raise your hand if you feel wishy-washy. Okay, we don't have too many wishy-washy people. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. Wishy-washy people, I'm going to give you over the break to think about it, and you can talk to me and the staff. And the people who feel pretty committed, I want you to go ahead and write that on your name tag. This is why we don't have fancy name tags, because I need you to commit and go ahead and write your symbol on your name tag so that you will be able to go into your groups afterwards. After the break. And what we're going to do is you're going to have different areas. This side is going to be the entrepreneur side, okay? You don't have to worry about it now. I'm just telling you so that you're prepared. And this side is going to be beginning entrepreneur. This is going to be, the back area is going to be advanced entrepreneur, okay? And this is going to be personal. And this is going to be next level. Is that clear? I've always wanted to do that. I'm very close to these motions right now. Like the exits. I just love that. All right. Now, we're going to have some sharing time. I want you to turn to the person next to you, and it really gets the room buzzing, and share your goal. I want you to turn to the person next to you, and I want you to do two things. I want you to, number one, share your goal with each other. And then number two, I want you to give one piece of helpful feedback, but not advice. I don't want it to start with, oh, you should, or you've got to. Just say, here's a helpful resource. Here's something I hope would be helpful, okay? We're practicing what's called a certain gestalt. It's a certain way of speaking, and you're gonna understand more about this after the break. So this is gonna be really quick. I want you to say your goal in 30 seconds, say your goal in 30 seconds, give a helpful resource, 30 seconds, helpful resource, 30 seconds. This is going to be like the best 2 minutes. Got it? All right, help me get back on time, ladies. Help me get back on time right now. All right. All right, so now, was that fun? Was it fun hearing other people's goals and stuff? Okay. And sometimes we'll do challenges also, but we've built challenges into your workbook today. So I didn't do this as a dual goal or challenge, which we did in our SisU pilot last year. So don't worry. If you are feeling that there are challenges to achieving your goal, we will get to it. All right, next. Okay, we're moving on to the next thing. And in your workbook, you will see the next section, which is, oh my gosh, it's the second part of the triangle. It's get. And these are get smart areas. So don't worry so much about the text here. I'm going to talk you through it. And what you're going to do is think about 5 areas that you need to get smart about to accomplish your goal. So in the example that I put here, I was in my mind thinking, well, maybe the goal would be someone who wanted to do an app for the green industry. For instance, I had a student last year who was very interested in this area and software for this industry for gyms. And so an example of 5 get smart areas for this person might be mobile apps, the green industry, market research, building advisory boards. And the thinking behind that would be, oh, I've heard building advisory boards is like the ticket to everything, you know, to getting money, to staying on top of stuff or whatever, and this particular person just had this bit of information, okay? And then the last area, work-life balance. And this particular person, let's say, going outside of the, my student realm, although this is possible because I teach graduate students, but, I'm married, I have kids, I really don't want to mess it up here, and I've heard entrepreneurs can kind of really lose it and start working at all hours, and I really want to talk to somebody about keeping it in check here. So I'm also going to integrate in an expert for personal stuff. So that's the 5 areas. You're not chiseling this in stone, okay? So don't freak out on me here. Just write 5 areas that you think you'd like to know about to get to that goal, and write that in the left column here. 5 areas in which I need to gain or maintain expertise, because you may already have expertise in this area for my goal. All right, so write those 5 areas right now in the left column. The most important thing is for you to have at least 1 to 2 areas, and what I want you to do now is pick one area where you know somebody actually comes to mind, and you can write them in this right column. Okay, so for instance, if I knew somebody in, using this example, in mobile apps, okay, and my friend Vasanti actually knows somebody who does mobile apps, and I can be like, oh, Vasanti, and I'm going to write her over here in mobile apps, and then I have access to her. I don't need to go through anybody. Do you understand this? She's 1 lily pad away. She's not 2 lily pads away. So the person I want you to pick, and I just want you to pick one person for right now, to write in the 1 column, you can flesh out the rest on your own, is 1 lily pad away. You have direct access to them, and you can call or email them sometime today, and you will do that. Okay, that's going to be your homework assignment. So pick one area, write a person or an expert or somebody who knows about this, and write them in this other column. Okay? Go ahead and do that for one area. If you don't know one single person, then what you are going to do is write a person who you think is at the center of this area or would be a connection. Okay? That's your plan B, and you must contact them today. Is when you're in forum today, which we're going to call guerrilla mentoring, which is after the break, you could actually walk out of this room with the person, FYI, okay? Because the people in this room are probably going to meet a lot of the needs for those of you who you don't think you know this person. And so at the break, have on your radar screen, I'm looking for this kind of person. When you're in your forum, which is going to be after the break, have on your radar screen, I'm looking for this person. But your radar screen may not have been defined before you had this right column. So the point is to say, yay, my radar screen is defined now. Not to beat yourself up and say, uh-oh, I don't have anybody on my radar screen. You see where we're going with this? All right, half empty, half full, fixed mindset, change mindset, right? Not weakening yourself, not beating yourself up. Deborah Tannen, Dweck, Carol Dweck, okay. All right, so this is what we're doing. We're wrapping up on this, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to move on to why this is important, and why 5 is the magic number, and why I have you looking for 5 areas. And here is why. So who has ever read any research about how going it alone, has anybody seen the study about how going it alone and doing things in isolation is helpful to oneself? Has anybody seen that study? Has anybody? Right, are you laughing? Yeah, because it doesn't exist. Okay, it doesn't exist. There is no such study. And so basically, people make you happier, richer, and more successful. There's plenty of research to show that. Yet, you know, we really insist on doing things by ourselves, standing behind our laptops, saying, oh, I'll just stay home with the kids tonight. Oh, I'll just do it by myself. And, you know, the most interaction we may have with somebody on a given day, especially if we're solopreneurs, which is the vast majority of the 8+ million female entrepreneurs, the most interaction we may have with somebody on a given day is at Starbucks. Okay, and so let's be real about this and what's going on as we get our master's degrees and PhDs and start our own businesses and have really great skill sets, and what we're doing with that and what it means for our support networks, which make us happier, richer, and more successful. So think about that. So how many do we need? Well, there's the positive psychology movement shows us that 5 friends make us happier. So the question is, does that correlate to mentoring networks? The answer is yes. And this is actually research from the Hot Mamas Project that we have not published. So we're sharing this with you today. I teach it to my students, but we have not published this in any journals. Because you know, we actually want to do like a few more tests on it with a larger sample size and all this kind of stuff. But it's very clear to us that the women who have 5+ mentors are more confident and have higher perceptions of success. And where is it all? What's the last stand? It's here. This is the last stand. Perception is reality. So we're testing against actual household income and things like that. But in a way, it's kind of irrelevant because you're not running around sitting there comparing, oh, do you make $400,000? Do you make $40,000? I mean, people don't actually talk that way with each other. And so it's perception. And their perception is that they are more confident and are more successful, and this is their reality. And they have a support network of 5 or more mentors. So when you have that list of 5 and you start fleshing them out and picture that table of 5 people and you start filling it, it matters. It matters. You don't have to do it right away. I'm not saying, oh, go out today and like hitchhike on the street and, you know, be like, hey, will you be my mentor? I mean, that's crazy. You know, you're busy. I mean, you could probably barely make it here today. That's not what it's about. But it's about envisioning this table and saying, who deserves to be here? There may be some people there right now who actually kind of don't deserve to be there, right? And like kind of, you know, clearing a little house and getting people there who have your best interests at heart. People always say, gee, how do I find a mentor? Who deserves to be my mentor? Well, guess what? It's people who have your best interests at heart, and it's people who are helping you get to your goal. You initiate that contact, though. You know, they're not sitting around fishing for mentees, you know, in the river. You know, it's like you go out and seek them out. And I even gave you some verbiage there in your workbook for a very specific email to do. This is the kind of stuff we work through in depth in the e-course. It's people. It's always about people. Okay, but, okay, there's always buts. Ifs, ands, or buts. Close cousin of the shoulds, all right? And so what do we do about that? This is the next page in your workbook. And, what do we do about this? All right, so I'm going to do a very quick quiz. When you were doing your goal, when you were writing out the 5 areas and thinking about an expert or a mentor you would contact, who had a little voice in their head that said, but, or a challenge, or a, but? Raise your hand. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Come on. Oh, you're so not all being honest right now. You're such liars. Liar, liar, liar. There's more. There's more. Raise your hand. Be honest. Be honest. Okay, thank you. Thank you, okay? Because we love this, though. We have to embrace the challenges, or they will defeat us. Face the challenge. Love the challenge. Love the ifs, ands, or buts. Love the ifs, ands, or buts. Okay? Alchemy Forever, founded by Adapala, has a great saying that a mentor told her. It's run to criticism. run to criticism. So not unlike that, we embrace the ifs, ands, or buts. That's exactly what we're doing on this worksheet. So what I want you to do right now is, on the left-hand column, write down every challenge that you're facing. Write down every challenge that you're facing in reaching your goal, in getting these mentors. Write it all down. Vent. There's a great Yiddish word for this, which is kvetch. Okay? Write it all down. Write it all down. Left column. Go. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Write it all down. Maybe 3. I would like you to start doing is take one of the challenges, just one, and in the right column, write down a resolution strategy. So what this means is kind of a way to solve it. So for instance, if you have a hard time finding time in the day to even begin thinking about your goal, or even begin thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to contact this mentor? Think about how to combat that. For instance, maybe there's time, I'm literally making this up, but I've had people also say similar things in times where I've done this exercise. I spend so long hunting around for my keys and my purse and the kids' stuff every morning. So maybe I'm going to front load like a system where I don't do that anymore. And I'm going to do that on Saturday and really try to stick to that to free up some time for myself. And I'll get up 15 minutes earlier. I'll go to bed 15 minutes earlier, so I'm not sacrificing my sleep. And I'll take that system, save 15 minutes, crossing fingers, and I'll have half an hour each day for myself. And being realistic, maybe it's not each day, maybe it's like 5 times a week. And I'm going to carve that out and put it on that calendar and save it for myself. Now that's really detailed. Some people will also just, on the other end of the spectrum, say, I'm going to use like shampoo that has conditioner in it. And like combine, you know what I mean? So like you don't have to go to that level. But some people really enjoy writing all the details. So I'm giving you the full spectrum of issue resolution strategies. Okay. So take one thing and write an issue resolution strategy, and you'll flesh out the rest for homework. Okay.
So now, within your sections, organize into groups of 4 so that you can talk to each other and have a conversation. Okay, so it may just be, oh, hello, I'm turning towards you. Or it may be you have to kind of move or say, hey, you come over here. All right, so do that now. I'm going to give you a minute to find groups of 4. Don't be shy.
Here is what we are going to do. Welcome to Forum. All right, with Guerrilla Mentoring. What we are going to do is experience a little mini version of what is called by elite entrepreneurial organizations, Forum. Okay? I am in a forum with Cameron. Where's Cameron? Okay, so Cameron and I are in a forum together that's affiliated with this group Entrepreneurs Organization. It's considered by many entrepreneurs to be the secret weapon. It is based on, a lot of principles about group dynamics which make Forum really work and a highly effective communication style. It's basically a peer mentoring group. Just so you know, these elite entrepreneur organizations are $1 million plus businesses. I personally always have wondered, although I have not really shared it with Cameron until today in a very public forum. I find it, I'm trying to say, come up with a diplomatic way to say this. I find it a bit of a misstep, shall we say, that these groups have not taken it upon themselves to share with the larger community the concept of forum. Okay, given how powerful and effective it is, bordering on an injustice. And so that's why we're doing it. And we actually do it in my class now here at GW. And so That's what we're going to be doing today, is giving you a taste of form. This was so hands down the favorite thing in our pilot that we created an entirely separate event to do only this over and over and over again on December 3rd. Because what's going to happen today is one of your group of 4 is going to be able to present their issue or challenge or goal. And then 3 of the rest of you, the other team members, are going to give their feedback. Now, what does this mean? It means not advice, okay, as the directions say here. You should share experience. So for instance, don't say, I would do this, or you should do this. What you should be doing is saying, here's my experience. For example, one time I had this experience which was very frustrating for me, and this is what happened. Or here is an interesting resource. I hope this would be helpful. But don't fall into mom mode, okay? You've already got a mom, all right? So you don't want to hear that in your ear. You need to, okay? That is exactly not where we're going with this exercise. You got it? Is that clear? All right, so I'm going to call out like your personal timer. And I'm going to say, first, presenter presents. That's team member number 1. So you guys are going to choose in a second, who's the presenter? This is one person who's going to say, here's my goal, or here's my challenge. Team member number 1, you get to decide. You could put something from your issues resolution strategy list, the big butts list, out there. Okay? You could put something that's your goal out there. What do you want these 3 people to talk to you about? You choose. Then, team members 2, 3, 4, you're each going to have 3 minutes, and I'm going to say, team member 2, 1 minute left. Team member 2, 30 seconds left. Moving on, team member 3, it's going to go like that, okay? Then team member 3 is going to have 3 minutes. Team member 4 is going to have 3 minutes, where you can give advice. Are we giving advice? No, we are giving feedback, experience, resources, all right? And then we're going to move like that through team member 2, 3, 4, come back to team member 1. Team member number 1 is then going to share, here are top takeaways I had from this experience, okay? So that we all have the full circle experience. And then you're going to have a couple minutes to do that, and it's over. And then we're going to ask for some sharing, and we're going to move on to give, our last part of the triangle. Okay? All right, so right now, decide who your presenter is going to be, the 1 of 4, and then I'm going to get us started. Okay, I'm assuming everybody has a presenter. I am starting the timer, and the presenter, team member number 1, is going to have 5 minutes to present their issue or their goal. You choose. This is what's going to happen. This is not as much an exchange. The team member, ideally, has 5 minutes uninterrupted. There could be clarification questions, okay? But this is not a scene from, what was that movie? The club where they're... They play cards.
Breakfast Club.
No, not the Breakfast Club could work, but yeah, it's not a scene from the Breakfast Club where you're all sitting around chatting during detention. Okay, this is a scene where the team member number 1 is presenting, and you all are pretty much kind of trying to listen. All right, and then when each of you are giving the feedback, it's kind of uninterrupted. There may be the occasional interjection with a question or this or that. That's mainly how we're trying to do it, okay? We're trying, okay? I recognize it's hard, but we're trying to do that, all right? This isn't the Truman Show. I recognize this is going to be tough, all right? Okay, there's a clarification question.
We were going to have to present to everybody.
No.
The presenter is who's presenting to us.
Only the 4. You do not have to present to everybody. It's just presenting to you. That's an excellent question. Now we do not need a dump truck of Paxil. Okay.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. Now, presenter, which means just team number 1, presenting to team member 2, 3, 4. Get ready. You have 5 minutes, and go.
Restructure the organization and also to maybe articulate to my board.
Okay, get ready to wrap up. Presenter, get ready to wrap up. And time. Team member number 1. Time for team member number 1. Now what's going to happen is team member number 2 is going to start in giving their feedback to team member number 1. You have 3 minutes. 3 minutes, okay? Start right now. Team member number 2, 3 minutes. Now, team member number 2, time up. And team member number 3, it is your time to give feedback. Team member number 3 starts now and go. All right, now team member number 3 starts. Team member 3 has 3 minutes, and then we're going to go back to team member number 1. So team member number 3 right now, 3 minutes, and let's go. Ready, and go. All right, so of course everybody can keep talking for 2 hours, right? So the point of this exercise, I know it goes extremely fast, that's why we call it guerrilla mentoring. This is not like, oh, leisurely mentoring with umbrella drinks, right? We call it guerrilla mentoring for a reason. And do you know how long that time was total? 15 minutes. So can you imagine how much information was just packed into that short amount of time? It was problem or goal identification, input from one valued mentor, input from another valued mentor, input from another valued mentor. 15 minutes, right? And so this is just amazing. Imagine what you could do in your business, or the back 20 minutes of a meeting at your company, or the back 20 meetings, even of a book club, if you have like a highly motivated book club that's prone to OCD. So, you know, right. And so, you know, with a Red Bull or something. So it's like, you know, just imagine. So the point is not that this is normal. This is not normal. And a lot of people would write on the survey, we wanted more time, and, you know, we hate you, we wanted more time, you know, like, no, they didn't say they didn't say they hated us. But I mean, this is the favorite part, because it's the interactivity, it's addictive. And when people do this with these entrepreneurial groups and these roundtables, there's more time. But there's also more people, and they're busy and they're successful. So it's not like they have time to sit around and talk all day. They literally have timers at these meetings, because you always know the person that hogs the meeting, right? And then you always know the person who won't say anything. It's like pulling teeth. So it's a way to make sure everybody participates evenly. So it's just fantastic. All right, so now what we're going to do is wrap it up with the person who started it, team member number 1, the presenter, giving some bullets about what were the top things they heard. What are they going to walk away with? All right, and that's going to be the end to guerrilla mentoring. Is it normal? No. Is our face like this from the G-force? Okay, a little bit. Like, we went through this really fast. I recognize this. But that's why we do this only on December 3rd. And everybody gets a chance to present. And also, we're busy, right? It's like, so having these time limits is, we want more secretly, but we know we don't have time also. All right? So let's go ahead and give the presenter now 3 minutes, 3 bullet points, maybe more, and wrap that up, okay? So now, presenter, you've got 3 minutes, and go ahead right now. Give in our workbook. And this is going to be quick, because I know you've done a lot of work. You know, a lot of what I teach has underlying it, you know, theories of cognitive behavioral therapy and a lot of research from other areas, and this is true. But the way I like to simplify it is with what I call Jedi mind tricks, because there's other words for it, but I think nobody would ever remember it, nor would they want to, because it's just not fun cocktail conversation, frankly. So
Basically, the Jedi mind tricks is making sure that with all the things that you've learned, you're not the last barrier to your success. Okay? You've done guerrilla mentoring. People have told you great things. You've come up with your goal. You know, in Q&A today, and even as an appendix here for homework, we have like an action planning thing, which is what I used to do in my first business, and it's based on a really successful business planning model. And we're going to go through it in the e-course, and there's all these things that could set you up for success. But you're not going to be successful if you get in your own way and you tell yourself things that are messages like, gee, I can't do that, or gee, I'm not sure. So Jedi mind tricks are basically a weird way of saying, what's something that I can tell myself to snap out of it, as Cher says in Moonstruck, you know, snap out of it. And so what I want you to do is just right now, think about something that you know works for you to snap out of it. What's something that you do where you can snap yourself out of a negative pattern of thought, a negative pattern of behavior, and think about when you're in that moment. Are you driving in the car sulking? Are you in your room sulking? Are you in your bathroom? Are you a complainer? Are you a venter? Do you get angry? What is that pattern, and what can you do to disrupt that pattern? What works? Pick one thing. You could even be stealing from your issues resolution strategy, from the big butts list, okay, where you're on the right column. That's not cheating. Choose one thing that you know works. Write it in that box. We'll be sharing some of these during Q&A, which is what are your top issue resolution strategies? And we'll be sending out a survey afterwards where people are sharing, are not issue resolution strategies, but Jedi mind tricks. And we'll be sharing out a survey afterwards, sending out a survey afterwards where people are sharing their top mind tricks. And we'll be incorporating that into our e-course, into our closed blog, so that you can see from this group what are some of the top tricks that are really working for folks, and sharing that in a confidential setting. Okay, and this is really, the reason I'm not sharing right now, and we're not bringing people to the mics, is because this is really your conversation with yourself. And you really need to hear this. This is really important. It can all unravel right now. This is probably the shortest segment of SisU, but the most important. People can rah-rah you to death with their pom-poms and their advice, but you can come home by yourself and unravel it all. Am I right? Okay? And this is not a motivational speech with, you know, all this stuff. You know, there's some of this stuff, they call it you and university and everything now. You could take some of these things and shake it upside down and a professor's not going to fall out. You know? I mean, we call this you because I do teach. This is my 10th year teaching. And I do a lot of research, and we produce measurable results. I know what I'm talking about here. And this is based on research that works. We have measured it. You guys don't have a lot of time. We bring you here today, and we do it in 3 hours because I believe in this. This changes people's lives, and we're now moving it down in age so that it can impact girls. We are not messing around. This is the last stand, okay? This is it. Hear this. Don't mess it up for yourselves, because you've got the skills. You've got the education. There's no reason not to believe in yourself, so just know that this is the last stand. What tricks work for you? There's 4 parts of social learning theory by Alfred Bandura. The last part is you. You must have this in your toolkit. You must. And if you're even thinking of leaving this box blank, think again. Think again. You're going to have a much easier time with the next box. Why? Because women will give and give and give to others before they give to themselves. Okay? we'll bleed out on the street, you know, before we'll help ourselves. And there's research that shows this. And in terms of one of the people who was saying that they're not good at marketing themselves, and I think it was Monique or Monica. There's a study that shows that, done with over 11,000 women, about how terrible we are at marketing ourselves. And so that also is in our Women's Business Fact Sheet on our blog. It's called Women Are Their Own Worst Enemies, about how bad we are at marketing ourselves. Okay, so this is just something to practice and be aware of. It doesn't mean we're terrible or awful. It just means it's something to be aware of. Okay, because we're pretty good at criticizing ourselves. I don't think we need to load up with additional data and saying additional things that we suck at. Okay, it's just something to be aware of. All right, that's it. Just awareness. It's the first step. All right, so moving on from Jedi mind tricks to the last part. You know some stuff now. Am I right? You know a few things. We've tried to make it as simple as possible and put it in a little triangle and stuff, but you know some things now. So what I'd like you to do is think about one woman or girl, and you'd like to support her on her goals and pay it forward so it doesn't stop with you. Think about who that is and make a commitment and write it down and write it in the box right now. And that in addition to your one mentor, one of your 5, you're going to email her or text her or call her or Facebook her or, you know, whatever. There's so many different ways these days. Today, and say, I was just in this seminar today, or I just had this experience today, and I really am committed to supporting you with your goal. What are you working on now? How can I support you? Think of who this person is and write it in that box. Because that's the real sisterhood of success, right? We need to take what we've learned and aggressively pass it along. It's not good enough just to learn and keep it to ourselves. We have to aggressively pass it along. Hook people up, whatever you want to call it. This is our job. Don't just passively sit there. Aggressively pass your knowledge along. That's the last step, give. And when you have done that, when you have gone through goal, get, give, coming up with a goal for yourself and committing to it, going out and getting a support network, and giving to yourself here and giving out to the community and paying it forward, you have officially graduated from SisU. Congratulations.